Chosen one. Why your debt is actually a divine seed for breakthrough. Do you know why? Why your debt is actually a divine seed for breakthrough. Pause for a moment and breathe, because this message did not find you by accident. You may have been carrying the weight of debt in silence, wondering how something so heavy could exist alongside the promises God spoke over your life. But today, the veil is lifting. What you have been calling a burden, heaven has been calling a seed. What felt like pressure was never meant to crush you, it was meant to prepare you. Anointed one, you were taught to fear debt, to see it as proof of lack or failure. Yet there is a deeper truth unfolding now. In the spiritual realm, nothing that touches a chosen life is wasted. The very place where you felt the most strain is the place where breakthrough has been quietly forming. This is not about glorifying struggle, and it is not about careless choices. This is about revelation. This is about understanding how God redeems what the enemy tried to use against you. Chosen one, your debt did not disqualify you, it marked you. It trained your faith, refined your discernment, and expanded your capacity. And now in this appointed moment, that seed is ready to break open. Stay with this word. What you are about to hear will shift how you see your past, your finances, and your future, because supernatural breakthrough is already moving toward you. Chosen one. There is a weight you have been carrying that most people will never understand. It is not just numbers on paper or bills with deadlines. It is the quiet pressure that follows you into prayer, into sleep, into moments where you ask yourself how you ended up here when you know deep down you were called for more. And yet hear this clearly, heaven has not miscalculated your life. What looks like delay in the natural is not disorder in the spirit. Something sacred has been forming in the very place you thought was breaking you. There is a reason this message is reaching you now and not earlier. There is a reason your breakthrough did not arrive before you were stretched. In the kingdom of God, expansion always comes after pressure. Seeds do not break open in comfort, they break open under weight. And what you have been calling debt has been functioning as pressure that enlarged your capacity, sharpened your discernment, and forced you to confront fear, dependence, and trust at levels most people avoid their entire lives. That pressure was not meant to bury you. It was meant to position you. Anointed one. I know what it feels like to stare at obligations that don't match the promises you believe God spoke over your life. I know the tension of worshiping with faith while your mind calculates how much longer you can hold on. I have lived in seasons where obedience cost me more than I could explain to anyone, where doing the right thing didn't immediately produce relief, only deeper stretching. And I learned something in those seasons that changed me forever. God does not waste pressure on chosen vessels. He uses it to prepare them for weight. Most people never learn how to carry responsibility without panic. They avoid it, numb it, or run from it. But you, chosen one, were forced to learn how to stand still while carrying something heavy. You learned how to pray when answers were delayed. You learned how to keep your integrity when compromise would have been easier. You learned how to keep moving without applause. That is not accidental. That is training. Heaven was building muscle in your spirit so you would not collapse under the blessing that is now approaching. There is a spiritual law at work that few understand until they live through it. Before God releases provision, He first increases capacity. Before He sends overflow, He strengthens the vessel. That is why some people receive sudden money and lose themselves. They never carried pressure long enough to be trusted with release. But you did. You were entrusted with the stretch before the supply. And now that stretch is speaking on your behalf in the unseen. Chosen one, let me say this with clarity and authority. Your debt is not being glorified, but it is being redeemed. Heaven is not celebrating lack, but it is rewriting its purpose. What the enemy intended to trap you in fear has been converted into spiritual equity. Every night you stayed up worrying taught you how to depend on God instead of illusion. Every decision you had to make carefully refined your stewardship. Every moment you resisted despair strengthened your faith. None of that disappears, it accumulates. There is a moment in every chosen life when pressure turns into permission, when heaven looks at the vessel and says, "Now they can carry it." That moment is closer than you think. You are not late. You are aligned. The shift you have been sensing is not imagination, it is confirmation. Something has moved in the unseen, and the ground beneath your situation is already responding. I want you to hear this as someone who has walked through real strain, not from a distance. There were times I believed God for provision while watching resources run thin. Times I had to choose faith when logic screamed otherwise. And I learned that God often waits until you stop trying to control the outcome before He intervenes, not to punish you but to free you, because control creates exhaustion, but surrender creates flow. Anointed One, this is where surrender becomes power. Not passive surrender, but sacred release. The moment you stop seeing debt as a verdict and begin seeing it as a season, your spirit shifts. Fear loses authority, shame dissolves, and clarity begins to rise. That clarity is dangerous to limitation. It attracts alignment. It opens doors that striving never could. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven does. There are connections forming that you have not met, ideas maturing that you have not spoken out loud, opportunities moving toward you that will not require explanation. This is not fantasy, this is pattern. Throughout history, the greatest reversals came after the heaviest stretches, not because the stretch caused the blessing, but because it prepared the carrier. Chosen One, you were never meant to stay in survival mode. Survival was a corridor, not a destination. And corridors feel tight because they are designed to move you through, not keep you there. The reason it has felt uncomfortable is because you were never supposed to build a life in that place. You were passing through. Right now, heaven is intervening, not with noise, but with alignment. Things are shifting subtly before they shift visibly. Your mindset is changing. Your tolerance for chaos is decreasing. Your sensitivity to peace is increasing. These are signs. When God prepares to elevate someone, He first changes how they perceive weight. What once overwhelmed you no longer defines you. What once terrified you is losing its grip. Anointed One, the seed has been in the ground long enough. Pressure has done its work. The shell is cracking, and what emerges next will not look like survival. It will look like supply, not rushed, not forced, but timed, heaven-backed and sustainable. Stay anchored, stay receptive. You are not waiting on breakthrough. Breakthrough is aligning itself to you. Anointed One, there is a moment when heaven begins to speak, not through thunder, but through patterns. You notice it when the same lesson keeps returning, when the same pressure keeps circling, when the same question rises in different forms. That repetition is not delay, it is refinement. God does not repeat lessons because He is unsure of you. He repeats them because something in you is being calibrated for accuracy. You may have wondered why your situation required endurance instead of instant rescue, why doors didn't swing open the moment you prayed, why relief seemed to hover just out of reach. But pressure has a purpose. It exposes what you lean on when comfort is removed. It reveals whether your trust is anchored in outcomes or in God Himself. And for the chosen, this revelation is essential before elevation can occur. I learned this the hard way. There was a season when I believed provision meant immediate escape. I prayed for God to remove the weight, only to realize later that the weight was shaping my discernment. It taught me how to hear Him clearly when noise was stripped away. It trained me to recognize peace even when numbers didn't align, and it broke my dependence on timelines that were never heaven's to begin with. Chosen one debt has a voice in the natural, but it has a different meaning in the spirit. In the natural, it shouts urgency, fear, and limitation. In the spirit, it reveals capacity, responsibility, and readiness. That is why heaven does not rush to remove it without first completing its work in you. God is not interested in temporary relief if it leaves your identity unchanged. He is interested in transformation that sustains blessing. There is a sacred exchange that happens when you carry pressure without surrendering your faith. You become internally fortified. Your prayers deepen. Your discernment sharpens. Your tolerance for distraction decreases. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you stop reacting and start responding. This is not just maturity. This is authority forming within you. Anointed One authority is not loud. It does not announce itself. It settles into a person quietly until circumstances begin to respond. That is why some people can speak and nothing moves while others whisper and atmospheres shift. Authority comes from alignment, not effort. And alignment is forged in seasons where obedience costs you something. You were never meant to define yourself by what you owe. That was never your identity. What you owe was simply the environment in which your character was trained. It was the field where patience grew roots. It was the fire that burned away entitlement and replaced it with stewardship. And stewardship is the language heaven responds to when releasing increase. I want you to understand this clearly. Heaven does not reward desperation. It responds to alignment. When your heart, your actions, and your trust begin to move in the same direction, provision follows naturally. Not because you earned it, but because you are positioned to receive it without losing yourself. There was a time when I thought breakthrough meant a sudden miracle that erased everything overnight. And sometimes God does work that way. But more often He works through alignment that looks ordinary until you realize everything has changed. A conversation that shifts perspective. An idea that won't leave you alone. A door that opens quietly instead of dramatically. These are not small things. They are evidence that heaven is moving with precision. Chosen one. You may be tempted to compare your journey to others who seem to receive faster or easier, but their path was not designed to carry what yours will. Speed is not the measure of favor, capacity is, and God has been expanding yours carefully, intentionally, and personally. Every time you chose integrity over escape, something registered in the unseen. Every time you resisted bitterness, something shifted in your favor. Every time you stayed open instead of shutting down, your future widened. These choices did not feel powerful in the moment, but they were planting something durable. And durability matters when wealth is involved. Anointed one. Wealth is not just money. It is influence, reach, stability, and peace. Money simply amplifies what is already present in the vessel. That is why God prepares the vessel before He releases the flow. He is protecting you from blessing that could distort you if released too soon. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, and you are not being tested to prove your worth. You are being trusted with a process that produces stability. Heaven sees beyond the immediate. It sees the generations connected to your obedience. It sees the impact that requires a grounded foundation. And it is building that foundation now. There is a shift happening inside you. You may notice it when you no longer panic the way you used to, when problems arise and you feel an unusual calm, when solutions come without strain. These are signs that fear is losing authority. And when fear loses authority, provision finds room to enter. Chosen one. The seed has been absorbing pressure quietly. Roots have been forming in places you could not see. And just as a seed does not announce when it begins to break open, your breakthrough will not need permission from your past. It will emerge because the time is right. Heaven is not asking you to strive harder. It is inviting you to trust deeper, to release control, to stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios, to stand in expectation without forcing outcomes. This posture is not weakness, it is alignment. And alignment attracts support you could never manufacture on your own. I want you to hear this as someone who has watched God turn pressure into provision in real time. The moment you stop seeing debt as a verdict and start seeing it as a season, its power over you dissolves. It no longer defines your mood, your identity, or your decisions. And when that happens, you move from reaction into readiness. Anointed one readiness is what heaven responds to. Not perfection, not performance, readiness. And you are closer than you think. What you have been carrying is about to change form. The weight is shifting, the pressure is lifting, and the alignment you have been building quietly is about to reveal itself in ways that feel both surprising and strangely familiar. Stay present, stay surrendered, and stay open. What is forming now will not collapse under its own weight. It will stand, endure, and multiply because it was prepared, not rushed. Chosen one. There is a sacred moment when heaven stops shaping you internally and begins rearranging things around you. It often feels subtle at first, almost easy to miss, because it does not arrive with noise or spectacle. It arrives as alignment. Conversations start landing differently. Opportunities begin to surface without force. The same weight you carried yesterday no longer presses the same way today. This is not coincidence. This is transition. You may have noticed that your relationship with money pressure and responsibility has already started to change. Not because the numbers disappeared, but because fear lost its authority. When fear steps back, clarity steps forward. And clarity is the language heaven uses to guide the chosen into elevation. God rarely moves you by panic. He moves you by peace. Anointed one. Peace is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of trust. And trust is the gateway through which supernatural alignment flows. When your spirit settles, your vision sharpens. You begin to recognize what is no longer aligned with your future. Old habits feel heavy. Old patterns feel restrictive. You are not becoming arrogant. You are becoming precise. I remember a season when I felt an internal shift before anything external changed. I could not explain it logically. Nothing dramatic had happened. The situation still looked the same, but inside, something had moved. I stopped reacting the way I used to. I stopped chasing quick relief. I started listening more carefully. That internal stillness was not emptiness. It was readiness. Chosen. One readiness is dangerous to limitation. When you are no longer frantic, you stop making desperate decisions. When you stop making desperate decisions, you stop creating cycles that keep you trapped. This is why God often calms you before He elevates you. Elevation requires stability, and stability begins inside. There is a reason your breakthrough is unfolding this way. Heaven is teaching you how to receive without grasping, how to steward without anxiety, how to hold increase without losing balance. These lessons cannot be learned in theory. They are learned in lived experience, and you have been living them faithfully even when it felt unfair. Debt once spoke to you with urgency. It demanded your attention. It tried to define your worth. But now something has changed. It no longer owns your emotional landscape. You are beginning to see it clearly as a season that trained you, not a sentence that defines you. That clarity is freeing, and freedom attracts favor. Anointed one favor is not random. It flows toward alignment. It follows obedience. It responds to humility. When your heart posture shifts from survival to stewardship, resources begin to move differently around you. People notice you without knowing why. Ideas come with unusual clarity. Solutions appear without struggle. This is not magic. This is spiritual law. You were never meant to hustle your way into abundance. You were meant to align your way into it. Hustle produces exhaustion. Alignment produces flow, and flow is sustainable. Heaven is far more interested in sustaining you than impressing others through you. There are doors preparing to open that will not require you to explain your past. Your history will not be interrogated. Your worth will not be questioned. These doors will open because you are aligned with their purpose. They will feel natural, almost obvious, as if they were always meant to be there. Chosen one. When God releases provision, He often sends it through channels you did not anticipate. A relationship that reconnects at the right time. A skill you once dismissed that suddenly becomes valuable. An idea that feels simple but carries weight. Do not underestimate the ordinary. Heaven often hides extraordinary provision inside familiar places. I have seen God use the most unlikely routes to bring relief and increase. Not because He wanted to surprise me, but because He wanted to remind me that He is not limited by my expectations. When I stopped dictating how provision should arrive, I began to recognize it when it did. Anointed one, this is where trust deepens. Not trust that everything will be perfect, but trust that God is precise. Precision means nothing is wasted, not your struggle, not your endurance, not your obedience. Every piece has been accounted for, and now those pieces are being assembled. You may feel an inner nudge to simplify, to release what drains you, to focus on what brings clarity. These nudges are not random, they are instructions. Alignment requires space, and sometimes space is created by letting go of what no longer fits. Chosen one, your capacity has expanded. You can carry more now without losing peace. That is a sign. You can make decisions without fear driving them. That is a sign. You can wait without panicking. That is a sign. These are not small shifts. They are evidence that you are ready for what is coming. Heaven does not rush transitions. It times them. And when the timing is right, movement becomes effortless. That is the season you are stepping into. Not a season without responsibility, but a season where responsibility no longer overwhelms you. Anointed one, I want you to understand this deeply. The breakthrough you are approaching will not feel chaotic. It will feel ordered. It will not steal your sleep. It will restore it. It will not increase anxiety. It will dissolve it. Because what comes from heaven carries peace with it. You are not about to be rescued. You are about to be repositioned. Rescue implies weakness. Repositioning implies readiness. And you are ready. Ready to steward. Ready to build. Ready to receive without fear of collapse. Chosen one, the seed has matured. The soil has done its work. The roots are strong enough now to support growth above ground. What emerges next will not be fragile. It will be grounded. And when it rises, it will rise naturally, without striving, without force, without apology. Stay attentive, stay humble, stay aligned. You are no longer in preparation alone. You are in transition, and heaven is moving with you. Chosen one. There comes a point where heaven no longer negotiates with your fear. It simply outgrows it. You may have noticed that what once intimidated you now feels smaller, quieter, less commanding. The same situations still exist, but they no longer dominate your inner world. This is not because you became careless. It is because you became anchored. Anchoring changes how storms affect you. Anointed One. Anchoring does not remove responsibility. It removes panic. And panic is what kept you reactive in the past. Panic made every decision feel urgent. Panic blurred discernment. Panic whispered that you were behind, late, or failing. But anchoring speaks a different language. It says, I can wait without losing ground. That is not passive. That is powerful. I remember when I first felt this shift. Problems still arrived, but they arrived without the same authority. They no longer dictated my mood. They no longer hijacked my sleep. I could look at the numbers, the obligations, the timelines, and still feel steady. That steadiness was not confidence in my ability. It was confidence in God's precision, and that confidence changed everything. Chosen One Heaven trains you to become unshakable before it entrusts you with visible increase. Unshakable does not mean emotionless. It means grounded. It means you can feel deeply without being ruled by what you feel. It means you can carry weight without collapsing under it. This is the kind of vessel that can steward abundance without distortion. Your past pressure taught you how to sit with uncertainty and not abandon your values. It taught you how to move forward without clarity and still choose integrity. It taught you how to listen before acting. These lessons were expensive, but they were effective, and now they are working in your favor. Anointed One. There is a difference between people who want money and people who can hold it. Wanting is emotional. Holding is structural. Heaven builds structure first. Structure looks like discipline when no one is watching. It looks like patience when speed would feel better. It looks like restraint when shortcuts are available. You have been practicing structure without realizing it. That is why what is coming will not overwhelm you. It will fit. It will land where there is room. It will expand what is already stable. You are not being upgraded randomly. You are being matched with what your spirit can sustain. Chosen One, you may feel a growing intolerance for chaos. What once felt normal now feels draining. What once felt acceptable now feels misaligned. This is not judgment. This is refinement. As your capacity increases, your tolerance for disorder decreases. Order attracts provision. Disorder repels it. There was a time when I confused intensity with progress. I thought if I felt stressed, something important must be happening. But I learned that heaven does not lead through frenzy. It leads through focus. Focus quiets the noise, and when the noise quiets, guidance becomes clear. Anointed One, guidance is increasing in your life right now, not as loud instructions, but as gentle clarity. You know what to say no to without guilt. You know what to wait on without anxiety. You know what deserves your attention and what does not. This discernment is not accidental. It is the fruit of endurance. Debt once demanded all of your attention. It wanted to be the loudest voice in the room, but now its voice has been demoted. It is no longer the narrator of your story. It is simply one chapter closing quietly as a new one opens. Chosen One. There is something powerful about the moment when you stop explaining yourself to fear, when you stop justifying your hope, when you stop apologizing for believing that God can do more than your circumstances suggest. That moment marks a transition from survival faith to settled faith. Settled faith does not need constant reassurance. It does not require signs to stay anchored. It trusts the process because it recognizes the author. This kind of faith is rare, and rarity attracts responsibility. Anointed One, responsibility is not a burden when you are prepared for it. It becomes purpose. It becomes impact. It becomes legacy. The weight you are about to carry will not feel like the weight you carried before. That weight crushed. This weight will stabilize. You are stepping into a season where provision does not feel like a miracle you chase. It feels like a system that supports you. Systems are quiet. They are consistent. They are reliable. Heaven loves systems because systems sustain fruit. I want you to hear this clearly. What is coming will not make you frantic. It will make you focused. It will not scatter your attention. It will sharpen it. It will not inflate your ego. It will deepen your humility, because humility keeps you teachable, and teachability keeps you aligned. Chosen one alignment is the hidden force behind lasting success. People chase momentum, but alignment creates momentum naturally. When you are aligned, effort produces results. When you are misaligned, effort produces exhaustion. You have lived both, and now you can tell the difference. You may notice that doors are opening with less resistance, or that problems resolve faster than they used to, or that the right help appears at the right time. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Alignment is working quietly on your behalf. Anointed One, heaven is not in a hurry with you. It is intentional, and intentional movement always looks slower from the outside until it suddenly looks unstoppable. That is how this season will unfold. Calm, ordered, effective. There is nothing left for you to prove. The proving happened in private. The endurance has been witnessed. The lessons have been learned. Now comes application. Stay grounded. Stay receptive. Stay present. You are not waiting for permission to rise. You are already standing in the position that makes rising inevitable. Chosen one. There is a sacred threshold you cross when your faith stops asking for proof and starts recognizing patterns. You no longer need dramatic signs to believe that God is moving. You can sense it in the way things are lining up without force. You can feel it in the quiet confidence settling into your spirit. This is not emotional excitement. This is spiritual certainty. Anointed One certainty does not shout. It settles. It anchors itself deep within you and changes how you walk through everyday life. You wake up differently. You respond differently. You no longer carry urgency in your chest the way you once did. That urgency has been replaced with awareness, and awareness is a sign that heaven has already gone ahead of you. You may notice that your prayers have shifted. You are no longer begging for escape. You are asking for wisdom. You are no longer focused on what you lack. You are attentive to what you are being prepared to steward. This is a powerful transition. It marks the moment when heaven can trust you with more, not because you want it, but because you are ready for it. I remember when this change happened in me. The circumstances did not immediately transform, but my relationship with them did. I stopped waking up in fear. I stopped measuring my worth by my progress. I stopped interpreting delay as denial. That inner shift created room for God to move without resistance. And when God moves without resistance, things accelerate naturally. Chosen one resistance often looks like worry disguised as responsibility. It feels noble, but it drains you. Heaven does not require you to carry anxiety to prove you care. It requires trust. Trust releases you from micromanaging outcomes that were never yours to control. And when you release control, alignment deepens. You are stepping into a season where provision will not come as a surprise rescue. It will come as confirmation. Confirmation that the stretching served its purpose. Confirmation that your obedience mattered. Confirmation that your endurance built something solid. Anointed One. The kind of breakthrough approaching you is quiet but substantial. It will not need to announce itself. It will simply work. Bills that once felt heavy will feel manageable. Decisions that once felt impossible will feel clear. Resources will begin to respond to your discipline instead of your desperation. This is what happens when stewardship meets timing. Stewardship without timing leads to frustration. Timing without stewardship leads to collapse. But when the two meet, flow begins, and flow is sustainable. Chosen one, you have been learning how to manage small things with integrity. You have been faithful in places that did not feel rewarding. You have resisted shortcuts that would have compromised your peace. These choices may not have felt powerful, but they were formative. They trained you to hold increase without losing clarity. Heaven does not release wealth to impress you. It releases wealth to expand impact, and impact requires stability. Stability requires self-awareness. Self-awareness requires time. You have been given time not as punishment, but as preparation. Anointed one, you may notice a growing desire to use what you receive wisely, not just to relieve pressure, but to build something lasting. This desire is not ambition, it is calling. Calling always comes with responsibility attached to it. Responsibility no longer scares you the way it once did. You have carried enough to know that you can carry more without panic, without pride, without fear of collapse. That confidence is quiet, but it is real, and heaven responds to what is real. Chosen one, I want you to hear this clearly. What is coming will not pull you away from God. It will draw you closer. It will require discernment, not obsession, balance, not burnout. You are not being elevated into chaos. You are being elevated into order. Order is one of heaven's signatures. When God moves, things make sense in retrospect. The confusion fades. The lessons connect. The delays reveal their purpose. You are entering the phase where understanding begins to catch up with experience. There was a time when I questioned why certain things took so long. Now I see that if they had arrived sooner, I would have mismanaged them. Not because I was unworthy, but because I was unprepared. Preparation is not about intelligence or effort. It is about alignment. Anointed one, alignment has been happening quietly. Your values have stabilized. Your priorities have clarified. Your boundaries have strengthened. These are not personality changes. They are structural changes. Structure supports expansion. You are not just receiving relief. You are receiving access. Access to ideas, people, and opportunities that resonate with who you are now, not who you used to be. This alignment ensures that what comes into your life will stay. Chosen one, fear once told you that debt meant failure, but heaven reframed it as formation. That formation is now complete. You are not defined by what you owed. You are defined by what you became while carrying it. As this season unfolds, you will find yourself less reactive and more intentional. You will respond instead of rush. You will choose instead of chase. This is maturity, and maturity attracts trust. Anointed one, trust is the currency heaven uses to release responsibility. Responsibility opens doors to influence. Influence multiplies provision. This is the order, and you are stepping into it naturally. Do not underestimate how far you have come internally. External change is following internal alignment, not the other way around. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are walking into manifestation. Stay steady, stay humble, stay receptive. You are not moving backward or sideways. You are moving forward with clarity. And clarity is one of the greatest forms of provision heaven can give. Chosen one, what is unfolding now will not require you to abandon who you are. It will confirm who you have become. Chosen one, there is a quiet authority that settles over a life when preparation is complete. It does not rush. It does not prove itself. It simply stands. This is the authority you are stepping into now. You are no longer negotiating with the past or arguing with fear. You are moving with discernment, and discernment changes outcomes before they appear. Anointed One. The final work heaven does before release is alignment of identity. Not identity as a role, but identity as a posture. Who you believe you are determines what you can carry. And something in you has shifted from hoping to knowing. Knowing does not mean you see everything. It means you trust what you cannot yet see because you recognize the pattern of God's faithfulness. I want to speak to the part of you that survived quietly, the part that kept showing up when no one clapped, the part that stayed honest when compromise would have made things easier, the part that kept praying even when prayers felt unanswered. That part of you was never wasted. It was being refined into stability. Stability is rare, and rarity attracts assignment. Chosen one assignment is what separates provision from purpose. Many receive money and feel empty. Others receive responsibility and feel alive. Heaven assigns resources to those who understand why they are receiving them. You are not being elevated to escape responsibility. You are being elevated to fulfill it with peace. Debt once taught you how to carry weight without collapsing. Now that lesson is complete. The weight you will carry next will feel different. It will not press you into the ground. It will ground you where you stand. Grounded people are trusted people. Trusted people are resourced people. Anointed One. Heaven is not removing you from reality. It is repositioning you within it. You will still make decisions. You will still steward wisely. You will still be thoughtful. But fear will no longer sit in the driver's seat. Fear has been replaced with wisdom. Wisdom does not hurry. It moves with timing. You may notice that your conversations are changing. You speak less, but with more clarity. You listen more, but with greater discernment. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. This is not distance. This is focus. Focus protects energy. Energy sustains momentum. Chosen. One momentum is building not because you are pushing, but because resistance has been removed. When resistance is gone, movement feels natural. This is the kind of movement that lasts. This is the kind of progress that does not reverse under pressure. I remember when I reached this point myself, I stopped asking God when and started asking how to steward what was coming. That shift changed my prayers, it changed my posture, and it changed my outcomes. God responds quickly to those who are no longer trying to escape their lives, but to build them. Anointed One building requires patience, but it also requires confidence. Not confidence in self, but confidence in alignment. You are aligned now. Your values match your direction. Your discipline matches your desire. Your faith matches your capacity. This harmony is what allows heaven to release without restraint. There is a peace that comes when you realize you are no longer behind. That peace frees creativity, it frees courage, it frees generosity, and generosity is a powerful signal in the spirit. It says, I trust there will be enough. Heaven responds to that signal. Chosen One. The season ahead will not be marked by drama. It will be marked by consistency. You will see progress that holds. You will experience provision that remains. You will build systems that support you instead of exhaust you. This is what maturity produces. Do not be surprised if some things fall away quietly, not because they were bad, but because they were temporary. Temporary supports give way when permanent structures are ready. You are moving from temporary solutions into sustainable ones. Anointed One's sustainability is one of heaven's highest priorities. God is not interested in giving you something that requires constant crisis to maintain. He is interested in establishing you in a way that brings rest, clarity, and impact. You may feel a deeper sense of responsibility toward others rising in you, a desire to help, to guide, to create, to contribute. This is not pressure, it is purpose awakening. Purpose always comes with provision attached to it. Chosen one, you are not being asked to figure everything out. You are being asked to stay aligned. Alignment keeps doors open. Alignment keeps you teachable. Alignment keeps you protected. There will be moments ahead that remind you of how far you have come. You will look at situations that once overwhelmed you and realize they no longer hold power. That realization is not pride, it is testimony. Anointed One testimony is not just what you say, it is how you live. It is the calm in your decisions. It is the steadiness in your voice. It is the peace in your timing. People will feel it before they understand it. Chosen One, heaven has completed its preparation. What unfolds next will not need explanation. It will make sense because it fits. You are no longer becoming ready. You are ready. Stay grounded. Stay faithful. Stay open. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are stepping into something established, and what is established by heaven cannot be undone. Chosen One, receive this moment with reverence. What you have heard was not information, it was alignment. Heaven has spoken, and something has already shifted in the unseen. The pressure you carried has fulfilled its assignment. The seed has broken open. And the season you are standing in now is not accidental, it is kairos. This is your appointed time. Anointed One, I declare that what once felt heavy is being transformed into movement. What once delayed you is now accelerating you. A supernatural transfer is already in motion, flowing toward you with precision, peace, and divine order. You are not reaching for breakthrough, you are meeting it. Heaven has gone ahead of you, preparing provision, clarity, and favor that will not exhaust you but establish you. Remain faithful, stay aligned. Do not rush what God is unfolding with intention. Walk forward with gratitude, knowing that what is coming will fit who you have become. Let peace guard your heart. Let wisdom guide your steps. Let expectation rise without striving. And if this word resonated with your spirit, seal it in faith, stay connected, share it with those assigned to hear it, and leave a quiet testimony below by writing your city as a sign of agreement. Stay aligned, Chosen One. What heaven began, it will complete.